Hey, I'm back with a little bit of War Thunder. So, I have been playing War Thunder for a couple of years now, but I don't think I've ever recorded anything on it at all. But right now I'm flying my Super Cobra, and I didn't post this because I thought I was amazing at this game or that I had done a especially amazing in this match, but it was a very solid match, and it shows probably a little bit of what to do and what not to do. And as far as like I'm doing both, but I really enjoyed the game. I decided to share it. I even had a little bit of bad sportsmanship on my end on this, and it'll be pretty obvious. But anyway, so we're here at I can't recall what map this is, to be honest. I think it's rear, whatever, however you say that. But I usually angle in on these NPC planes because sometimes when you're the highest plane, it takes a while before you can encounter enemies because they'll be in the background side climbing. But so I just lined up on this BF-110 after a little bit of climbing. I of course skipped the most boring part, which was 5 minutes of getting to altitude. I'm going to line up on the BF-110. Now this thing's got a big old 37mm gun on it with those high explosive incendiary rounds. Just gonna do a little bit. I don't want to lose a little bit of speed here, so I can have enough time to aim on this 110. And I figured that it was going to circle around to the right, so I changed my angle of attack. Gaining a lot of speed. I dropped below, obviously. Nothing too startling here. And I'll slowly close. Now, on these below angles, on these lighter, like kind of heavy fighter, light attackers, they're really weak on the lower guns. Like a lot of times they can't even fire at you if you're below them at all. Got a little bit of damage with the 50 cals. Oh, there we go, finally. And as you can see, I was starting to trail right behind him when I got fired at. Now I believe there is, yeah, there we go. There's a Focke-Wulf coming into view now. I decide since he's the first semi-high altitude player I've seen, I'll angle on him. Then I realize he's just too low. I'd lose 3,000 meters diving on him. So I turn back around because there's a couple of fighters engaging our fighters down here closer to our base. And I realize he's really low as well. I don't want to lose that much altitude yet. A lot of times there are these BF-109s in the atmosphere, and I want to stay high to kind of protect the team from these really high BF-109s. So I decide to angle back in on another NPC plane. Still just kind of keeping an eye out. Now, at this time, this is not the view I had at the time, but I would be looking around, making sure there weren't any high planes above me, to the rear of me, or just below me that I could dive on. I'm still trying to maintain altitude for the team at this point, and trying to earn a little bit of credits and experience as I go. I do not have a huge amount of these trees unlocked, and it's important to me to be able to progress here. But I'm closing in similarly. I didn't have quite the speed I did with the first NPC BF-110, and I'm keeping an eye on my my Thunderbolt buddy here. I'm afraid he's gonna boom in on me and just crash into me. So I'm more concerned with getting out of his way. Once I'm out of his way, I'll go ahead and line up on this 110. I try to do short bursts with these. Cannons. And one good thing about the latter King Cobras is you get nearly 60 rounds of 37mm ammunition. Extremely helpful. Extremely helpful. You don't. I mean, you can go ahead and lose a few rounds here and there, and it's not a big issue. All right, so now we're lining up on this 110. Now I've got a fair amount of speed here. I'm going to translate it to altitude. I'm going to sit above him. I'm going to see what happens. And I know I've got backup in the form of this Thunderbolt up here. Not only will he help me if I'm in trouble, Now you can see a lot of my party, not my party, but a lot of my allies are dying by the airfield. Sometimes gaining altitude is just a good, and I just, I noticed that they're all dying. I wanted to turn to help, but I'm so close to this fuck-a-wolf, I may as well engage him. I've got every advantage. I may as well just engage him. And that's the sound you hear is another friendly AI 110. So he's gonna come up, and I feel like he's getting engaged by the Thunderbolt. Once the Thunderbolt has his pass, I'll try and make my pass. You can see a enemy attacker below. Here we go. Yeah, I didn't have a shot. Yeah, I made it just in case shot. Sometimes the shot, and you can see, I knew he was angled a little bit to the right, so I angled to the left when I boomed away. He could have turned on me and made me play this a little bit differently, but he's got to worry about 2 aircraft right now. He's almost entirely on the defensive. So here's my partner. Now this is where I do something I shouldn't have done. Now my intention here was just to put a few 50 cals in him, knock off, damage some surfaces. Yeah. To damage some surfaces and ensure his death, because that fire could have easily gone out. But instead, I of course steal the kill. My buddy over here, he points. Oh, you can't see the chat for some reason. But Smooth, he points it out. I apologize. I tell him that I owe him one, and if later in the match something comes up where I can give him one of my kills, I'd be happy to. So I'm busy apologizing here and explaining the situation. And we'll go ahead and pass a little bit of time. There's still plenty of match left. Oops. Now I'm closing in to see if there's any help I can render to my allies over here. And I realize they're on the airfield. They're asking where the enemy are. I'm going to go ahead and translate this speed back into some altitude and close on the enemy base. Now, I'm still pretty high, and I don't think there was a single enemy plane that climbed to altitude this game. So I'm going to dive down to about 2,500 meters in the hope that any ground attackers or low aircraft I'll be able to detect. Because if you're at 3,000 meters, it's the edge of the nap of the Earth detection range. You're just not going to be able to see the enemy unless you're looking for dots. So what we're going to do is I'm going to do I did a flyby the enemy base. I wonder if you can see it, but there is an enemy plane parked on the runway. I see it, but I also see a 109. I'll slow it back down to normal speed. Now this guy is practically away from keyboard climbing. He is not paying any attention at all to what's going on. So I'm just going to boom in, get a nice shot lined up. Just blew him to pieces. Had he reacted, I would have just boomed up and lined up on him different. But I figured I had surprised him at least at that point. But then again, I believe this guy had been attacking ground targets. So he probably wasn't their most elite player either. This skin is actually not the skin I see when I play this game. I have a camouflage skin I put over. Not a huge fan of this yellow beast here, but maybe it's extra intimidating or something to the enemy, who knows. So again, I know that there are 2 more aircraft around the airfield. I believe they're both attackers. So I'm just lining up. I thought one of them might take off and escape down the back here. And I want to stay high enough and far enough from the anti-aircraft that it will have a hard time attacking me, at least effectively. And I'm like, well, maybe I won't go behind the base. Maybe I'll go between their base and our targets. And lo and behold, there's one of the attackers now. It's a duck. I'm not in a big hurry to engage him. I kind of want to give my Thunderbolt buddy here a chance. I've been pointing these targets out. I offered this target to him. He said, just go ahead and take him out. Don't worry about it. So that's my plan. And I've seen people die to head-ons with ducks, and it's just such a waste. Now I saw him kind of angling up on me for a moment there, so I just made sure that I was safe. I'll get a nice angle of attack. Ducks aren't the most maneuverable planes in the world. Oh, there we go. We get a Spitfire, but it's not my, it's not the buddy I stole a kill from. So I'm not overly interested in. Yeah, and that was actually me rigging him with 50 cals. Well, trying to rig him with 50 cals. I was still really kind of concerned about having stole that kill. It kind of threw me off a little bit. I wanted to give this guy a kill. Alright, there we go. So that was another run by the Spit. My Thunderbolt smooth there, the guy I stole the kill from. I'll line up on this again. Blew his wing off. I'll pull up. Now at this point, I still have about 20 or 25 cannon rounds. It's an amazing load of ammunition on these. And so yeah, we're just cleaning these guys up. Not the most spectacular play in the world. So Smooth looks like he goes for a head-on. He flames him. No, doesn't flame him, but he smokes him. He looks like he'd be more than happy to give me a head-on. And I believe he's continuing to keep his nose pointed at me, hoping for a head-on. I'm just going to pull up and let him stall out. Yeah, he's even firing behind me in the hopes of hitting me. I'm just going to stay above him, wait till he stalls out. There he goes. I'll dive on him. First shot takes off the tip of his wing. It wasn't an instant kill. Without the tip of his wing, he's going down. So I let him take it down. All right, not the best play on my part as far as stealing Smooth's kill there, but I think it kind of showcases the power of this 37. Anybody who's played this game knows these 37 millimeters are extremely effective when they hit. And I just actually upgraded it towards more accurate. It's 18 feet more accurate at 500 meters. It's actually finally gotten to the point where it's useful more consistently. But I really like the plane. I really do. It's a plane that I have no reason to play. I've got it now pretty kitted out, and I'm not researching anything in that line. I'm researching jets now, but I still jump into it now and then just because I really enjoy playing it. These King Cobras, I played against them a few times, didn't really understand the appeal, and just recently I started playing them again. That and the Thunderbolt and the Lightning, and I've really started enjoying these mid-tier planes. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it if you're watching, and hope to see you next time.